Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Welcome to your 12th class, and today we're having a new topic related to our speaking skills. It's called comparatives and superlatives. Non-native speakers usually face a very crucial problem when they use the comparatives and superlatives. They usually mix up between the comparatives and superlatives. Here in this class, we will try to fix some problems, to fix our problems, and to actually assert our understanding for the comparatives and superlatives. We will start first with the definition of noun, adjective, and syllable. This will lead us to understand what do we mean by comparative form and superlative form, and how can we build a comparative form of an adjective or a superlative form of an adjective. Let us start first with the first one. What is a noun? A noun is a word which refers to a thing, person, activity, place, like car, teacher, reading, and street. What is an adjective? These are very simple questions, and you should know them, but however, let me assure you that adjective is a word which describes a noun like car. Okay? So adjectives like big, fast, expensive. We say this is a big car, so big is an adjective. Usually the adjectives are located before the nouns. What is a syllable? A syllable is a part of a word containing vowel sound. Vowel sound. What you usually study in the high school and in middle school, that you have learned the vowel letters, right? Do you remember the vowel letters? Like A, I, O, and U. All of these are vowel letters. But here we are talking about vowel sounds. What do you mean by vowel sound? Is it different from letters? Yes. For example, if we take this letter, A, and we put it in different words, like coal, and you look at these examples now. Look at how we pronounce A. Coal. So we pronounce A as O. Bake. To bake. Bake. The A is pronounced like A. And cat. A. So we have three different sounds for the same letter. A, like coal, all, bake, and cat. We have also park. We have park. So we have O, A, A. So we have four different sounds to the same letter. So it's important to understand that a word may have more than one syllable. One syllable, two syllables, maybe three syllables. And syllable means مقطع صوتي, like the word reading. Reading. بين كل مقطع صوتي هناك وقف قصير, pause. Each syllable should have a vowel sound. لاحظوا, reading. Ding. So we have two syllables. How many vowel sounds we have? We have two vowel sounds. Hina, read, and han, ing. Okay, reading. Let us take some examples. Some words, they may have one syllable adjectives like fast, big, cheap, long, and you can notice that just once you listen to yourself. And some words, they have two syllable adjectives like happy, like crazy, like dirty, and some other words, they have more than two syllables. They have three syllable adjectives like important, wonderful, or impossible. Since we have known the noun, adjective, and syllable, Let us now start discussing our comparative and superlative. Adjective and adverbs, they have two forms called comparative and superlative. The comparative form of an adjective or adverb compares two things, بقارن ما بين شيئين أو two persons. The superlative form of an adjective or adverb compares three or more things. يقارن بين ثلاثة أشياء أو أكثر. What is a comparative form? A comparative form expresses the idea of more. يعني fast, faster. سريع أسرع. My car is fast. سيارتي سريعة. بينما but his car is faster than mine. فلاحظوا كلمة faster. هذا هو الcomparative form. We should add ER. How can we form or build a comparative form? It depends now. It depends on the syllable. عشان هيك that's why I have explained the syllable idea for you. And you should understand what syllable means, right? For example, the first word, long. Long has only one syllable. With one syllable adjectives, you add ER to make a comparative form. This is longer than this. Okay? However, with the two syllable adjectives ending in Y or LY, if you have an adjective ends with two syllables, it has two syllables, ends with Y or LY, and you want to make a comparative form, what should you do? First, you need to replace the I with the Y with I, and then you add the ER. Funny, funnier. Happy, happier. So we change Y into I and we add the ER. Also, we have some words, they have more than two syllables. They have three syllables or maybe sometimes more. In this case, we cannot say moderner. هذا خطأ. Modern has more than two syllables. What you should say is more modern. You should say more modern. Finally, as you know, each rule has an exception. لكل قاعدة استثناء. And the exception of this rule is good. Good is a one-syllable adjective. However, we cannot add ER, although it has one syllable like long. بس ما بنقدر نستخدم ER. What should we say is better. Good, better. He is better than him. She is better than her. And here what we call irregular adjectives. And by the end of this class, I'll provide you with one of these. I'll provide you with a list of these irregular adjectives. And those irregular adjectives must be memorized. Must be memorized. Now let us move to the other section. Now comparative, this is wrong. You should say superlative in this case, because the superlative form expresses the idea of most, لكن الcomparative expresses the idea of more. بينما superlative expresses the idea of most. Now let us take this example, the same example, fast. Fast, the regular form for the superlative form of an adjective is to add est. So you say, my car is fast, your car is fast, but his car is the fastest. Is the لاحظوا اقتران الذا مع الsuperlative. But his car is the fastest. And remember, with the superlative we compare 3 or more things. لكن في الcomparative we compare 2 things. With the superlative we add est usually. Not all the times, because we will take more cases. With the comparative we usually add er in some cases. How can we form a superlative form of an adjective? How can we make it? We have also the same examples we have used in the comparative form. Let us start. They have almost the same rules. We need first to check how many syllables each word has. For example, long. Long, it is a 1-syllable adjective. To 1-syllable adjective we add est to make superlative form. For example, long, longest. This is the case with a 1-syllable adjective. With a case with 2-syllable adjectives ending in y or ly, we should do the following. To make a superlative form, we should do the following. We should replace y with I, and then we add est, and it becomes the funniest. Let us see it now. As you can see, we have changed y into I. For other 2- and 3-syllable adjectives, for adjectives with more than 2 syllables, we need to use most modern. We cannot say modernist. Why? Because modern has more than 2 syllables. Again, for each rule there is an exception. لكل قاعدة استثناء. And the exception of this rule is good. We cannot say goodest, although it has 1 syllable like long. But we should say best. The best. He is the best student. She is the best student. Here is kind of a summary or a chart summarizes the comparison, summarizes and compares comparative and superlative. And here we have the same examples. With the comparatives, for 1-syllable adjective, we add er, with the superlative est. With the 2 syllables adjective, which ending in y, we change the y into I in both cases. With the comparative, then we add er, and with the superlative we add est. With the words having more than 2 syllables, maybe 3 syllables, like modern, we should use more to make comparative form of an adjective and most to make a superlative form of an adjective. And we have irregular adjectives like good. In this case, we cannot say gooder and goodest, but what we should say, better and best. In this case, you need to memorize all the irregular adjectives I'll provide you at the end of this class. To make comparative and superlative forms of an adjective, some rules must be followed. Some rules must be followed. The first rule, to form the comparative or superlative of 1-syllable words, we need to add إما ER or EST. As you know that each syllable should have a vowel. And a consonant at least. Number 2, to form the comparative or superlative of 1-syllable word ending in E, 1-syllable word ending in E, we add only R أو ST. وهذا لازم ننتبه لها. For example, the word wide ends with E, right? It's one syllable word, adjective ends with E. In this case, we add only R. And in the superlative case, we add only ST. The same with the word fine. It is a one-syllable word. So in the comparative case, we add R, and with the superlative case, we add ST. And cute, it has the same rules. Number 3. To form the comparative superlative of one-syllable word with one vowel and one consonant at the end, double the consonant and add ER and EST. If you have a one-syllable word or adjective has or end with a vowel and consonant, you should double the consonant and then add ER to make a comparative form. So we say sad, sadder. Also with a superlative, if you want to make a superlative word with a one-syllable word, a superlative form with a one-syllable word or adjective ends with a vowel and consonant, you need to double the vowel, double it, يعني ضاعفها, and then you add the ER. The same thing with fatter. It ends with a vowel and a consonant. In this case, you need to double the consonant and add the ER. And here, the same thing. You need to double it and add the EST. Rule number 4. To form the comparative or superlative of two-syllable word ending in Y, change the Y into I. وهذا اللي أخذناها في الكلمات مثل happy. So this is happy. Two syllables, ends in Y. We change the Y into I, and then we add the ER. And the superlative case, we change the Y into I, and then we add the EST. Jolly has the same rule. It is two-syllable words. We change the Y into I, and then we add the ER. And here, we change the Y into I, and then we add the EST. Lazy has the same rule. Rule 5. To form the comparative or superlative of a two-syllable word ending in a vowel sound that is not stressed, then add ER or EST. Some of the words, they don't have a stress at the end. For example, the word gentle. What do you mean by stress? اللي هو التركيز الصوتي or emphatic, التركيز الصوتي التأكيد. For example, gentle. Gentle. أنا ما حكيت gently. In this case, it's just very simple. You add the ER to all of them and then the EST as well. But remember, when the words end with A, you need to add only R and only ST. Here is kind of a chart. Show us rules at a glance. The whole rules that we have discussed so far regarding the comparative and superlative is discussed right here. So please try to study them very well. It's important to study the comparative and superlative. That is to purify your language. To purify your language. We have talked a lot about the adjectives. Like the adjectives, some adverbs can take comparative and superlative forms with ER and EST. And by the way, they have the same rule. But if I ask you what is the difference between an adjective and adverb, at the beginning of this class we said that the adjective describes the nouns, while the adverb modifies or describes the verbs. Look, for example, at the first sentence. Sally works hard. Sally is a subject, works is a verb, and hard is an adverb. The adverb describes the work. How she works hard. So, the adverb explains how. For example, number 2. Steve works harder than Sally. How does Steve work harder than Sally? هذا بنسميه comparative form. ولاحظوا دائما في comparative form بنميزه عن superlative إنه في جملة الكومباراتيف بيكون في عندنا than. لازم تكون هذا الجزء الرئيسي. Kathy and Sue work the hardest of all. هذا superlative form. How do Kathy and Sue work the hardest of all? لاحظوا دائما السوبرلاتيف مقترن بالذا وملحوق إما بof أو in، وذلك حسب السياق. Here we have some examples for the simple adjective and the comparative adjective and the superlative adjective of adverb. And here, as I've promised you, here we have a list of adverbs in which ER and EST may be added. هذه كلها ظروف. Fast, faster, fastest. Slow, slower, slowest. Quick, quicker, quickest. Early, earlier, earliest. لاحظوا في early it has two syllables. الواي أصبحت I وأضفنا الER، وفي حالة السوبرلاتيف الواي أصبحت I وأضفنا الEST. Bright, brighter, brightest. High, higher, highest. However احنا حكينا هذه بعض الظروف تأخذ الER والEST في السوبرلاتيف والER في الcomparative. لكن some of the adverbs they may have more than 3 syllables, 2 syllables. In this case, what should we do? For example, recently. If you want to make a comparative form of the adverb recently, you need to add more. So you say more recently. You cannot say recentlier. It's incorrect. The correct form is more recently. With a superlative, you cannot say recentliest, but you should say most recently. So these adverbs effectively and frequently are more than 2 syllables adverbs. In this case, we need to add more if we want to make comparative form of them, and most if you want to make a superlative form of them. Some comparative and superlative forms are irregular and do not follow any rules or patterns. These must be memorized. هذه تذكرة. They must be memorized. I'll provide you with a list at the end of this class. Before we move to forward, before we move forward, let us actually understand the use of comparatives and use of superlatives. Comparatives are commonly followed by than. هاي لازم تفهموها. And then is commonly followed by a pronoun or noun group in order to describe who the other person or thing involved in the comparison. John is taller than me. Is taller than me. Who is John? The person who is taller than me. So you are describing John. The comparative form describes John. I think that she is more intelligent than her sister. Who is she? She is more intelligent than her sister. She is more, so you describe she. This is the first use of comparison. We also can use phrases like much, a lot, and far, and a bit, and slightly, and little, and slightly. We can use them with a comparative form. And actually you're familiar with these quantifiers. You should go by train. It should be much cheaper. لاحظوا هاي comparative استخدمناها how much. Could you be a bit quieter, a little quieter? The same thing. Also, we can use a comparative and place the. We can place the before the comparatives. ليش? To indicate that a change in one quality is linked to a change in another. إنه أي تغيير بصير في واحدة من الcomparative يحصل تغيير في الآخر. For example, the smaller the gift, هذا طبعا comparative. The easier it is to send. And these, both of them are linked. يعني لو حكينا the bigger the gift بصير يعني عكس smaller، هذه لازم تعكس. شو بصير؟ the more difficult، عكس easy difficult. the more difficult it is to send. ما حكيت difficulter، لازم نحكي more difficult، لأنه difficult هي تتكون من أكثر من مقطعين صوتيين، ففي هذه الحالة نستخدم more. Also, two comparatives can also be linked with and to show a continuing increase in a particular quality. فأنت أيضا ممكن تحط we can put two comparatives together. They can be linked together. Why? To increase in a particular quality of something. تدل على ازدياد في نوعية الشيء. The sea was getting rougher and rougher. لاحظوا comparative. Her illness was becoming worse and worse. أسوأ فأسوأ. Worse طبعا هي من bad. ما بنقدر نحكي better، وهي من irregular adjectives. He became more and more tired as the weeks went by. More and more. So all of these are the common uses of comparatives. So it's important to understand not only the form and the meaning of comparatives and superlative, but also you should understand the functions, the uses of comparatives and superlatives. And this is what I focus, what I want you to focus on also, the uses of comparatives. That will help you to use it while speaking without actually making any mistakes. Use of superlatives, and usually in the sentence of a superlative, here you should in each superlative, in any sentence that has a superlative, you should have in and of. Annabel was the youngest child. Annabel was the youngest of the children. Oh, the restaurant is the best in town. So in this case, you're actually showing the best, the most. Okay? So that was the only use for the superlative. It is to compare three or more things. How about the opposites of comparatives and superlatives? هناك opposites لهم. Less هي opposite ل more, while the least is opposite to most. Less is used to indicate that something or someone does not have as much of particular quality as someone or something else. For example, this sofa is less comfortable than your sofa. The least is used to indicate that something or someone has less of equality than any other person or thing of its kind. It's the least expensive way to travel. She was the least intelligent of the three sisters. Here, as I promised you, the irregular adverbs that I want you to memorize. تحفظوهم. Because they are only memorized. Badly, worse, worst, much more, most, little, less, least, much more, most, will, better, best. Also, we have irregular adjectives. Good, better, best, bad, worse, worst, much more, most, little, less, least, far, farther, farthest, old, older, oldest, and old, elder, eldest. So please memorize all of them. Actually, there are 12 or 11 words that you need to memorize. Now, here are some examples for the irregular adjectives. You can look it by yourself. And let us move to the exercising section. And in here, I will do some of them, and I will leave the largest part of it to you. And that is to do more exercises. Let us do the first one. The more you do exercises, the more exercises you do, the more understanding you will get. This is comparative, right? This is one of the uses of the comparatives. Let us use the first one. Let's do the first one. The weather in winter is than it is in the summer. How can I tell if it is a comparative or superlative? I need to look at the whole structure of the sentence. Then I will find than. Then I will come to know, oh, than is used to make comparative forms, right? So let me look at these four choices. Colder, cold, coldest, the coldest. Which one is having a comparative form? It's only colder. Cold is actually a one-syllable word, ends with what? With ER. So it is a comparative one. Do number 2 and number 3 by yourself. What is the comparative form of the adjective sad? Sad is an adjective. It has only one syllable sound. It ends with a vowel and with one consonant. And the rule says if you have a one-syllable word or adjective ends with a vowel and consonant, you need to double the consonant and add ER. What is consonant? Consonants are all English letters except the vowels. And you know the vowels. So the answer should be sadder. What is the comparative form of the adjective destructive? Destructive. طبعا destructive هي adjective لأنه في إلها suffix IVA. Okay, so how many syllables does it have? It has more than 3 syllables. So we cannot say destructiver. It's incorrect. What should we say is more destructive. This is the correct answer. Okay? For number 3, 4, and 5, please try to do it by yourself. What is the superlative form of the adjective ugly? What you should first ask yourself, how many syllables does it have? And then, if it has 2 syllables, it ends with Y or ly. And we say, in this case, you need to change Y into I, and then you add the EST, the suffix AST, to make a superlative form of the word ugly. Then it becomes ugliest. And then I will leave number 7 for you to do it by yourself. And here we have kind of multiple choices. So try to do, I will do one of them, just one of them. I'll do number 15. Speaking Japanese is the easiest, writing it, the easy or easier than the number D, letter D. What you should remember that here we have a kind of a comparison between 2 things, speaking and writing. So what you should do is comparative instead of superlative. You should choose the comparative form. And the right answer is C. In this case, although it seems comparative, but you have a misspelling. As you remember, easy ends with I. In case if you want to change it into comparatives, you need to replace Y with I and then you add the ER. Write the following sentences using the correct form of the adjective, comparative or superlative. I will also do one of them and I will leave the rest for you. Jane is of the four. She eats very well and does a lot of sports. Healthy. Healthy is a two-syllable adjective, ends with Y. In this case, you need to change Y into I, and then you add the EST. Is the healthiest. Please do the rest by yourself. The reason of giving you a lot of exercises is actually to understand the major points that we have discussed in this class. Hopefully you have understood and enjoyed our comparative and superlative class. Thank you so much. Wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.